All right, Mikey, I think we're live, baby.
Let's do it.
Think we are live. So, quick little intro, guys. Want to welcome everybody to the very first. This is monumental right here. The very first episode of what are we calling this thing?
Mortgage Protection Bros.
The Mortgage Protection Brothers. That's right. Clearly, we put a lot of thought and a lot of time into thinking about the title, but it's what we do, right? I'm gonna have a quick introduction, guys. Tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about this awesome gentleman that's right here to my left, and I'm so excited, I'm honored to be able to not only put this together for everyone that's gonna have to watch, but to have my good friend join me in this, and for a multiple amount of reasons on why I'm excited that he's here. So I'm gonna let you guys get to meet him a bit. My name's Luis Moyano. You take it away, Mike.
I am Michael Waranch, and for the record, you are the Luis Moyano. My man. But no, I'm super honored to be a part of this, man. You're the knowledge and experience and success that you've had in this industry, like the ability to collaborate with you. You were like, "Do you want to do this?" And I feel like I was like, "Yes," before you even finished sending the message, man. I'm hyped about this.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, I'm super excited. So if you guys get to follow either of us, we're both with a company called Unitrust. They are the IMO. And what's cool about Unitrust is how they do what they do, right? Obviously, we sell life insurance, but we have one focus and one focus only. We're not searching leads. We're not asking for referrals. We're not knocking on my neighbors' doors. We're not bothering our family members to see if, they want to buy some life insurance and potentially not invite us to Christmas parties the next year's, right? We're focusing on leads and only a certain way. So that's why it's called the Mortgage Protection Bros, right? And
what we do.
It's what we do. So let's go a little background into it of maybe how, not so much how you got started, but just a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what background, where you were born, what size shoe you wear, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah. No one cares about my shoe size, but born and raised just outside of Baltimore, Maryland. Lived around here my whole life. Went to school outside of Philly for a little bit, came back here. Shortly after college, met my wife. We've now been together for 15 years, married for just about 12, two young kids, 8 and 6. And that is, for me, one of the biggest allures of having the structure that we have here is the ability to balance work-life, right? Everyone talks about the impossibility of work-life balance in modern day. And because, we have these wonderful and horrible things that are constantly in our pocket, gives everyone access to us 24/7. But the beauty of having a structure like you were talking about with Unitrust, where the focus is on leads, and we have the ability to do it all remotely, which is just incredible. Because I know when you were coming up in this game, man, it was door to door, man. I can't imagine the amount of time that took away from your family. And so being able to be in this spot where I have total control over my schedule. I run my last appointment at the latest at 6 o'clock. I'm doing dinner, bedtime, and time with the wife every night. I mean, we have the ability to do that. And I guess kind of what got me into this business was I met a mutual friend of ours, the great Chris Fauteux. And we were at this retreat that's focused on just personal development. And met him, and he was actually talking to my wife about what he does. And Chris is wildly successful for all the right reasons. He's a phenomenal leader, best kind of dude. I mean, we love Chris. And so kind of being around him, he's got this energy that's just like, I want to get to know this guy better. And so Megan, my wife, was sitting down talking to him, and he was filling her in as to what he does. And at that time, he was with another IMO and was already having great success. And so he was like, if you're good at recruiting, you can really impact a lot of people, make a lot of money, do really well in this business. And at that point, my background was all recruiting and staffing. I had been in that business for 17 years. So Megan
he told you mainly about recruiting. He didn't even tell you about selling, huh? That's what got you excited about it.
He told Megan about recruiting, and Megan was like, you got to talk to Michael. And so I sat down with him, and he kind of filled me in on the whole thing. I mean, the idea of selling is great. I had done phone sales and recruiting for my whole career. So that was obviously something that I thought that would be a relatively easy transition for me, at least not as much fear around selling on the phone. new industry was scary. But the recruiting is what I think is so cool about it, because you have the ability to, like, if I'm selling, I can only sell so many policies to so many people, protect so many families. But if I'm recruiting and the people I'm recruiting and helping, and each of them are helping families and their recruits are helping families, then we can really create this ripple effect that can really make a real impact. And that to me is a very, it was a very sexy opportunity. And so now I'm, what am I, 15 months into this business, and to say that my life has been changed is such a gross understatement that it's like laughable. I mean, this is amazing.
Isn't that a beautiful thing, man? So I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna give you a little bit of my background, but then I'm gonna come back to a lot of the things that you brought up and that you said, and just how little you've been here, and the structure too, that how you're able to set up, because it's fantastic, right? So I've personally only been with Unitrust for maybe like 4 or 5 months now. It's right before conference, and it's been going okay. And I say okay when I'm meeting numbers that other producers would be very happy about, but I want to compete with some of the big dogs. I believe in myself. I've been doing insurance since 2018, 2024 right now, so about 6 years in, and I've had success literally in everything that I've done, but a measured amount of success. It's time to break that barrier and push my limits to that higher place. But I started with that final expense, going door to door, and I absolutely loved it. I'll tell you, when I first went to meet with not Chris, but at that time Chris's upline and my friend that brought me in, I was just like, hold on, you guys are telling me that we get to buy leads. I call them, I go sit down with them, and I can sell them some insurance. And if I completely F it up and they kick me out of the house, I get to go to another house and start all over and try again. They were like, yeah. I was like, where do I sign? This just makes too much sense to me. Like, it's, I've been blessed with a huge smile and just like a lot of energy to me, which could be a blessing, could be a curse for some, but I love it. Right. So I really enjoyed sitting down with people and getting to know them. And next thing you know, I made a friend, I made a client, I helped somebody be protected, and we were able to move that. I mean, I remember my first appointment like it was yesterday. So moving forward, I ended up leaving that IMO because of the way they did things. I wasn't really too in tune with it. And when I moved on, the place that I went to started focusing a little more into the Medicare side of things. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this Medicare thing. I loved it too, helping seniors. And I started cross-selling a little bit, doing other Medicare and some other insurance too. And it was going well. Life happens. We had some crazy things happen to my family, and it left me in a place where it was just like, you know what? I gotta focus on making as much money as I possibly can for right now. And what's going to be the best route of doing that? Well, when have I made the most money in my life? That was when I was focusing solely on mortgage protection, and boom, right back to it. But the problem in this industry with the mortgage protection field on the face-to-face side was a prohibitive cost on the lead, right? The way it works is somebody buys a mortgage, a house, somebody refinances, somebody does a home equity line of credit, whatever it is, it becomes public records. And then right away, what do you think they get? Like 1 or 2 pieces of mail?
I think it comes a little bit heavier than that, but they're definitely getting some mail. Yes.
They're getting bombarded with different offerings from all these different companies out there offering mortgage protection, right? So my goal or my hope was that they liked the color of the printed paper they received better, or what mine said versus all 17 others was the one they wanted to fill out. Then they would put that back in the mail. Then it would go to the mail house, and then it would get delivered to me. Next thing you know, it's been a week and a half or so, and here I go calling them, hey, I'm going to come see you. Well, I already sat down with 2 people, already spoke to 2 different people. It's already happened. But then when COVID happened, the price on mail just started increasing. The return started decreasing. So that's like a bad formula, right? Meaning that for most agents, the cost was between $90, $100, $120 per single mail.
So crazy.
That you would call, and they might not even answer the phone. They might tell you that they already sat or bought with somebody else. They told you they filled out all 17 of them because they thought they had to. It's just madness. So it wasn't working. And that's when I transitioned to Medicare. Because of that, it's not happening. And so fast forward years later, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, I was like, all right, Chris, tell me a little more about, this company and how they do it and what they do. So let's go a little into that, right? You want to break that down on how our system works and why it's maybe different than what I just explained?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's like hearing you say that a single lead was costing 90, 100, $110. That's like, talk about sticker shock, man. I cannot imagine. Because like you say, you don't know if they're going to answer. You don't know if they've already talked to someone else. You don't even know if they knew what they were filling out. You know, they might have just sent it back because it says it's urgent and they're trying to check the boxes. So here, like, go ahead. Yeah.
I used to have a goal of buying at least 30 to 40 leads a week, right? So do that math. That's
nice investment,
$3,000 to $4,000 plus every single month, every single week. You know, my wife found out, she wasn't happy about that. It's a risk.
Well, here's what's so cool about it, right? Is that it, like any phone sales in particular, like any industry where there are warm or hot leads being generated, speed to the lead could arguably be the most important part, right? You want to be, ideally, typically most industries, you want to be the first person to talk to them, be the expert, position yourself well, get it across the finish line, and then they don't want to deal with it anymore, right? So speed to lead is so important, which is why the structure here of lead generation is so incredible, because they're not filling out a form and sending it back. You know, maybe they take some 2 days to get to the mailbox and the mail gets picked up, week and a half, like you said. Here, they get the notification, they call into the phone number, and it's like a 4 or 5 minute automated prompt of like, you know, pressing 1s and 2s to answer these various questions. And at the end, it says a licensed agent will be following up with you. And then it's available to us like that. I mean, it's incredible. And they're not even close to the cost. They're more than half of the cost of what you were talking about. I mean, it's just insane. It could be $29 to $45, depending on, you know, where you're at, how long you've been here, comp level, all that kind of stuff. But it is insane, because you want to talk about speed to the lead. How about talking to someone that made a phone call less than 24 hours ago to get more information about this? And I'm sorry, I don't know if you're like me, but I hate automated prompts. Like if I call into my bank and they're like, press 0 for operator, I'm like, nope, not doing it. I'll figure I'll deal with it another time. So if someone is spending 4 or 5 minutes on a phone pressing 1s and 2s to answer these questions, like that is a high intent lead. You know what I mean? And so it makes it so attractive. And kind of to take it one step further with what you were talking about with, you know, the spending 90, 100, $110 a lead, and you don't even know if they're going to answer. Well, here, obviously you can spend less on a lead, which will give you more volume. Now, my wife is massively helpful in my business, and she does a lot of the analytics amongst other things. And a few months ago, she was doing some analytics on my numbers. And what she found out was that based off how much I made and how much I spent on leads and how many calls I was making every day, that I was making something like $4 or $5 every time I picked up the phone to dial. It didn't matter if they answered, didn't matter if they set an appointment, didn't matter if they bought a policy. Every time I dialed the phone, I was making $4 or $5. So how much dialing do you think I was doing when I found that out? I was a madman.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Started calling everybody you knew, right?
I didn't have to. We got the leads, man.
But that's what's so cool about it. And I've heard that analogy used in the past, right? With previous companies I was with. And they were like, hey, if you were told that you're making, you know, $1.50, $2 every time you make a phone call, excuse me, you said $4 or $5. That's like 2 or 3 times the amount, which is just what's cool about it, right? And so I heard somebody tell me this. It may have been you. It may have been one of the upper ups on how we do things, because somebody might be watching this and be like, what do you mean they didn't fill out? They just answer prompts? Like they don't even want this. Like this is not a hot lead. Okay, maybe it's not. But you ask this guy right here that sells $50,000 every single month or more. You ask Brandon Hall, who sells $80,000 every single month or more. They're making it work. So the best analogy that I got with it is, you know, you walk into Costco, right? And you're going to Costco to buy maybe 2 or 3 things, but then there's this little testing thing or this little trial that you're like, what is that? Let's try it. And next thing you know, you're walking out buying the whole kit and caboodle to be able to make everything just because you had a little taste of that. So what's cool about it is that every single person we're speaking to is somebody that just went through a refinance or a purchase. Most of the time, if numbers were done correctly, that means that the debt to income ratio is going to be at a place where they still have some money to be able to live. They're not on the broke side. They were able to purchase. I used to run final expense. Final expense is targeted for people that don't have a lot of money, that are living mainly on Social Security. And so it's a little bit of a struggle for them to afford a $60, $100 monthly payment. Here, people that we're speaking to, yeah, they have new bills coming in. There's new uncertainty that might be in place, but financially, they have jobs and they're able to afford it. If not, they wouldn't have been able to refinance or they wouldn't have been able to purchase a home. So you're speaking to already qualified individuals in regards to finances. Then, just like any other insurance, we're going to go through our underwriting. That's where we are field underwriters, although we do it over the phone, because we got to ask them, what's going on with you health wise? Because at the end of the day, we want to do and we want to offer simplified issue life insurance. Mike, why is simplified issue life insurance so amazing?
Instant approval, man. No physical, no doctor, no peeing in a cup, no blood work. Everything about it is just so much easier, and people can be covered quicker. And that's what we're trying to do. Because, I mean, as gloomy as it sounds, like, we don't know what tomorrow holds. And if you're telling me that I can get instant coverage on some of these simplified issue products, I'm taking that. I'm not going to wait a month for a nurse to come out to my house and draw blood.
Instant, man. So I'm so happy you brought that up, because I was just literally about to say that. I don't know if you understand what the process used to be. And it's not that I did blood work too often for clients, but I've done it in the past for a mortgage protection clients that were like super healthy. I was like, you know what? You're so healthy. Do the blood work. 2 months later would get an approval,
What's this $1,100 check for? All right, the dude I talked to in September.
It's crazy, right? Because you have to go ahead and call the company that's going to come out and do the blood work. They eventually have to find the time to visit the client. They come out, they do the blood work, they go back, they run the testing, it goes to the company goes through their underwriting. Then if there's any additional requirements that you have to fulfill, you got to go back out to the client, get them filled out or get them signed, send them back out. And next thing you know, it's just a process. That's why anytime that you do blood work for life insurance, it's going to be a 30 to 60 day window, no matter what, right? Which is insane, because now the companies that we have that offer competitive pricing versus those blood work companies, it's unbelievable that it's available. And we just got one that even has the living benefits along with the good pricing. It's just like, it's too good to be true. But it is, and it's available. And like Mike's saying, it's immediate. So there's two things about simplified issue. Not only is it the speed on that we're able to provide for the client, but also the flexibility in what they accept, right? What I mean by that is that most of the final expense plans that are used for mortgage protection, the reason why we do it is because we're talking about a concept called critical protection period. We're going to make a whole episode just on that, right? We're going to talk about critical protection period, how we sell it, why we do it, and the importance of it. But just so you guys know, sometimes we're limited to only being able to use that type of policy, right? Which is a whole life policy, because of how flexible they are. So if you have that person that has diabetes, that used to have cancer, that has had so many different issues, that think, you know what, I am uninsurable, but you do your job diligently, and next thing you know, be like, hey, you're not, and here's how we can help you. They're just so grateful that you're able to give them something.
It's so spot on. And that to me is like really one of my favorite things about this business is you have occasionally these people who are like, I don't even want to set the appointment with you because I know I can't get coverage. And it's like, I bet you we can. You know what I mean? I got 12 different carriers that I'm working with here so that people can get the coverage. Now, whether or not you want the coverage, different story, but I bet you we can get you qualified. And then you get through the appointment, you share with them everything that entails in terms of what it does and doesn't cover and cost. And they're just so grateful because they now know that themselves and their family are protected when they thought that it was impossible. And when you get those people that really are able to see the value and can express their appreciation, like it's such a fulfilling piece of this job.
It really is, man. And you're able to just cover people, make them feel better, help them. And you explain it properly. You do a good job at going through it. It's a policy that's going to be in the book. We have really good placement. We have really good persistency company-wide that just goes to prove that the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, we're actually doing things that are working out for all the individuals and for all the agents. And so that's kind of how we go about it, right? They get the lead. We're calling them right away, and we're saying, this is available to you because you just had a closing. So let me go ahead and go through with you. buy it if you want to. Don't buy it if you don't want to. My job is just to give you the information and see if it's something that makes sense for you. Have enough of those conversations. You know, if you have 100 of those conversations a month and 30 of them buy, you just had a hell of a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And something that you talked about that I wanted to hit on is kind of just like that what you were talking about, the placement and persistency being higher here, and it's because we have higher standards, right? That's why I like being, especially part of our team in particular. Like, that's why I want to do this with you. Like, you guys don't understand. Luis is like, my numbers aren't where I want them to be, and like, this dude is a top producer. Make no mistake about it. But he has high standards. So he wants to continue to raise it. That's why I like being around him. That's why I like talking to you. That's why it's so important that we continue to collaborate with the right kind of people, because when our placement is higher, more people are protected. When our persistency is higher, more people are staying protected. And so when we have higher expectations, it allows us to do our job at a higher level. And people might be like, it's unrealistic to have consistently above 80% placement and 85% persistency for 12 months or out, right? And no, it's possible. It's very possible. And it's just a matter of making sure that we're taking the time to do things the right way. And when you're around the right people, you don't really have any other choice but to do that. It's part of what I love about you and the culture of our team. It's very unique. It's very special to be able to surround yourself with the people that we have.
It's true, man. Amen to that. Chris, like you brought up, he's a great individual. We have you. We have other top producers in the group. And that's what's cool about us. Like, if you're watching this video, you're considering reaching out to Mike or myself because, you want to know more, do it. We're gonna go ahead and get you, and no matter what, you're gonna have access to the both of us plus our whole team, right? And that's the culture that we're established. We have different ways that we communicate, that we have access at any time, pretty much immediately. If you have a question, you put it down, either Mike, myself, or somebody else is gonna be able to get back to you and give you whatever knowledge that we have. But he's on the phone a lot. I'm on the phone a lot, right? And so if we can't, then Chris will get back to you, then Ken will get back to you, then Miranda will get back to you. This is so many. Brad will help, get back to you, and there's so much support, which is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Like, at the end of the day, you're doing this for yourself. It's your own business, but you're not by yourself. And that's something that's crazy. Like, I'm home, right? Like, right now you might hear my kids in the background. They're usually in school. Can't wait for school to start again. But, but you're not alone. Like, I have my Zoom video up. I'm talking to other people. I could hear somebody else, do their pitches. I could reach out to Mike at any moment, and he'll just respond right away. And we're there to have each other's backs. So
it's really special, man. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's something that is so important to me, because basically everyone on the team that you're talking about has been in the business significantly longer than I have, right? And so, like, I can connect with people, I can sell over the phone, but there's so much about this industry that I don't know. And the ability to have people like you, Ken, Chris, Clint, Miranda, Brad, like the ability to reach out to all of you guys and to know that I can find the answer because you guys are so knowledgeable in this industry. It provides like a little bit of a safety net to make me just feel, like you said, that I'm in business for myself, but not by myself, that I am always being supported. And the fact that we have people that are willing to take time out of their day to help, even though it doesn't, benefit their pocket. We're just here to help each other because we care about each other. Again, it just goes back to us having a very unique environment.
It's cool, man. It really is. It really is an exciting opportunity. And I want to point something out for anyone watching, right? You're like, well, I don't really know insurance. Like, it sounds so boring. Like, insurance, really? Guys, if I tell you that I've made more money than some CPAs out there, that I've made more money than some doctors out there, and I have a college education, that's great, but I don't use my degree at all in this, right? If I tell you guys what Mike was been able to accomplish in the last year, you won't believe it. It's like, it's unbelievable.
I don't have a college degree, for the record. Anyone can do this. My God, anyone can do it.
So let's go a little bit into that, right? So you don't have a college degree. You came over here to strictly do sales, but you had zero life insurance knowledge on it.
Mm-hmm. None. I couldn't have even told you what a premium was. Nothing.
A premium, right? It's a monthly payment.
I knew nothing.
That's awesome. And now, like, you're 15 months in. And in 15 months, you've been able to sell over $1 million of life insurance for clients.
Yeah, so I did, in my first 12 months, I did 1.1, just over like 1.1. in policies to help families, which was like, that was a goal of mine. And, you know, when you start and you don't know anything, it's like, that ain't happening. But when you break it down, you're like, okay, for me to do that, I need to be able to sell $23,300 a week. And that includes 5 weeks of vacation, which again, 5 weeks of vacation. I don't know anyone that works in a W-2 job that gets 5 weeks of vacation. And not to mention working remotely and half days and just the flex. It's just incredible. So understanding that goal just makes it a lot more palatable to be able to, it's an easier bite to swallow when you're like, all right, I don't need to do $1 million. I need to do 23,000 a week, which really breaks out to, you know, whatever it is, 5-6 days a week, which is what I was working when I first started. You know, it's like, you know, 4 or 5K a day. That is still a big goal, but attainable, right? I mean, we were talking about the day that you had yesterday, and I mean, like, you know, it's insane what you can do in this business. And again, it's not just about how much you can make. That's kind of a byproduct of you doing it for the right reason, your ability to focus on helping other families. The rest will just fall into place.
Yeah, yesterday was a beautiful day, man. $13,000 day submitted. It's an unbelievable business. The fact that we can even say numbers like that, right? It's just like, what, $13,000 in one day? I still can't believe it. I called Michael, I was like, yo, you won't believe this. You know, but it's all right. And it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, numbers are numbers. It's just about enjoying what you do. And we clearly love what we do. And it probably is because we're able to feed our families, drive nice cars, and do what we want to be able to do. But at the same time, although this is time consuming, like this takes you truly being proficient at it, it's going to take time. Every single morning, Mike's dialing 8 to 10, 8 to 11 if he needs to be, but he's putting in, no matter what, 15 to 20 appointments. His goal is 20 appointments every single day. But you remember, he said structured. He said between 1 and 6 p.m. He's done by 6:30 the latest. Like, he's hanging up. He's not talking to anybody else. That's a beautiful thing. And as long as you're able to fit in that many clients in there to be able to talk to, the better it is. I usually do about 15 is my goal. I think I have 14 scheduled for today, right? But I'm finding myself, when I talk to people, like, you know what, dude, I don't get off till 6. I probably won't be home till like 6:37. Mike says, okay, well, maybe somebody else will call you. I'll say, you know what, I think we can squish you in for my last call. Yeah, but it's your prerogative on how you want to handle that, right? He sets that much more of an emphasis to his schedule, and I want to be able to do that because I also have little kids that I want to be able to have dinner and not just put them down to bed. I want to be able to hang out and do all that. So his work hours are from 1 to 6, and he packs it out and makes sure that he's slamming it and that he is slammed during that time. And by doing that, by doing that, by not taking any night calls, by not doing any of that, in his first 12 months, he sold $1.1 million. Come on. You know, why am I working so hard here? I gotta close out.
Everybody's working hard, man. And look, to be fair, when I first started, it's not what I was doing. When I first started, I would do 1 to 6, and then, you know, do dinner and bedtime, and then I would run some other appointments if need be at, you know, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10. Like, I'm hungry, man. You know, but as I've kind of hit my rhythm a little bit, as I've learned more, because in the beginning it was all volume, right? I just wanted to practice, screw up, learn. Practice, screw up, learn, until I got to a point where I could be a little bit more efficient and understand kind of who's more serious about the appointments, who's more likely to show up, whose policies are going to stay on the books, and how to more efficiently get through the presentation. Then I was able to condense my time a little bit more and just be more efficient with it, like you were talking about. But it takes time and practice and mistakes, man. You got to fail forward.
And I love that you just said that, right? Because it shows me my perspective. I'm outsider looking in, although we're good friends and we can have conversations, and I might have more access to him than somebody that's just watching this. Now you get to have the inner circle things, right? Now we get to be a little bit in the mind of Luis, in the mind of Mike. And I thought, this guy, dude, 1 to 6 since he got started. Like, he came over here selling insurance, you know, getting right into it. But it shows the hard work, the dedication, the process, the energy it took to eventually be able to get there, right? Whoever's starting, if you're starting new, do what Mike did, bro. He closed his eyes and he dove into the pool, and he didn't even know there was water in there, but he went for it. And not only did you end up swimming, brother, you ended up becoming an Olympian. You know, like that's how hard you went at it, and that's what can be done.
I appreciate that very much, man. And you know, I think that like you're saying, for anyone new who's starting out, like you got to be willing to remove the ego. That was the biggest thing, is like, you can't come in and you're learning the presentation and you're learning the toolkit and you're learning how to navigate the e-apps and what to say and objections and rebuttals and making sure you're articulating the value properly. Like, it's a lot. So my goal in the beginning, and what I think everyone's goal in the beginning should be, is volume and messing up, right? Just mess up. You don't have to worry about, do I look good? How are my numbers? Like, you have to be willing to fail forward. You have to make the mistakes. You have to be willing to screw it up, to sound stupid, to laugh at yourself, and to learn from those mistakes. That's where the important part is. You can screw up as much as you want, and you need to. But if you're not taking time to do an autopsy of those calls to figure out, where did I screw that up? What can I do better next time? Where did I lose this person? How can I improve my tonality here, my pace here? How can I get through the app more efficiently, right? Understanding how to navigate that only comes from experience. And you can't fake that. You have to put in the time, effort, and energy and just run appointments and be willing to screw it up. Like, for me, when I was starting, my goal was not to sell whatever 25 policies a week. My goal was to set 3 appointments in my first day, and then to set 5 appointments in my next day, and then to have a 70% show up rate, and then to get to the application and the presentation, and then to get 1 application sold. Like, you can celebrate little wins. It's not just, did I sell a policy so I had a good day? There's a lot more to it.
I love that. Two things, 3 things. 1, go for no, right? Find those no's. Get through all those no's, because the more no's that you're able to get at first, the more you're going to be able to find those yeses. 2, like you said, I came in here with an ego, I guess, right? Or an expectation. Like, hey, I've been great at this. Unitrust, you ain't ready. You're about to see what I'm going to do. Ooh, right? That's what I thought. I was like, yo, coming in top 10 right away. No, man, it took me a while. I'm top 10 last week. I was top 10, which is great. If everything closes out this week, I might be there too. But the reality is that it takes effort. It's humbling, right? If you're great at telesales already in a different source, hey, it might convert to also being great at telesales here, or it might not. It might just be a new beast. But one thing's for certain: quitters quit, winners win. What are you gonna be? Are you gonna be that winner, or are you gonna be that quitter? Because I don't care who you are. I mean, we got people in their 50s or 60s that are producing good numbers. We got kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old, still in college, and on their days off from classes, they go ahead and do it here. You know what I think would be a great avenue for? If you're watching this and you're like a firefighter, or you're a smart person, but you have those 24, 48 off, or whatever it is, 24 on, 48 off, check this out, man. Get your insurance license and jump on, because when you're sitting around, you're bored, this is going to be a great opportunity to just put 1 day, maybe 2 or 3 days a week, to just be able to create some extra cash flow for you, and it might be a great avenue. But for anyone looking to come in full time and take it seriously, the faster you get through those no's, the faster you're going to find those yeses, and the faster you're going to find that success. I think you're about to jump in.
Yeah, well, it's such a great point, because you don't have to be great at telesales in any role to be successful here. It's resilience, man. It's persistency. You know what I mean? Like, if you come in and you just simply are willing to make a high volume of calls, you will have success. It is not rocket science. All the tools and resources are here. It makes it very simple. I would imagine that 100% of the people that are watching this can read. And that's really all it takes, is the ability to make phone calls, not let the no's mess up your mindset. Just stay persistent with it, right? Every no is one closer to that yes, and just read it. And it makes it very, very simple. So even if you haven't had success in telesales before, any sales before, I mean, we have people that have come over from construction that kill it. I mean, from any industry, any walk of life, if you can handle the no's not messing up your mentality and are willing to just make a volume of calls.
Stay-at-home moms.
Exactly. That's a great
thing here, man.
Yeah. And let's be honest about it. Like, the traditional employment market isn't really kind to stay-at-home moms. They're not very forgiving for women who have taken 5, 10, 15 years away from work to raise a family, which we all know is a lot harder work than what we're doing.
My God.
And so they don't get the same opportunities. Like, you got women here with master's degree and doctorates that have taken a couple years off work to raise a family, and they can't get jobs again. Like, jump into this, because there is nothing easier to get your foot into and to have a just insane success across the board. Again, you just gotta, if you got the time and you want to make the calls, use it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. Babe, wife, if you're watching, just want to let you know how much I appreciate everything you do at the house for us.
What he said, baby.
But it's so true. It's a whole
It is.
other job. It's so much to do, you know. I come out of the office, I was just like, "How was your day?" She's like, "Oh." But
Take over.
right, exactly, right. I got a call. I have calls till 9. Sorry, babe. No, but let's bring it back to this, guys. I mean, this was just we're at 35 minutes. Let's wrap it up here. But I mean, dude, I don't know if you feel the same way that I do right now, but like inside, I'm excited to be able to do this with you on a weekly basis, to be able to put the content out there for everyone. And if you're gonna be watching this, you should be excited too. Just not only about maybe joining us and doing this with us, but just learning from Mike, catching on some of the things that I said. I promise my numbers are not there, but I'm good at this. I'm damn good at this, and I love what I do.
Your numbers are there. Your numbers are there. You just have high expectations for yourself.
You know what the problem is? Not so much the problem is, and that's exactly it. You know, I expect myself to make $40,000-$50,000 a month, which it's a shitload of money for a lot of people. Yeah. Like some college students watching this right now are just saying $40,000-$50,000 a month. Like, dude, I'm happy if I make 5. Well, you can do that. You can make those $5,000 a month working 2 days a week here while you're still managing whatever else you need to manage.
Absolutely.
Right? All that I would ask for anyone coming in to give this a shot is to have at least 2 full days a week that you can give it. Yep. Right? Because we can buy leads for those 2 days, and then the way that we do things, you schedule in the morning, you run at night. Right? They're going to be fresh appointments that you just scheduled, and you want to get as many as you can in that afternoon so that you have as many at bats as you possibly can, so you can get a couple home runs, and that's it. So 1 or 2, as long as you have 1 or 2 days in your week, and you're smart enough to be able to get an insurance license, which if that guy is, and if I am, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Exactly. All right, Mike. Anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, last thing I just want to say is, like, if you guys, anyone watching this, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, want to learn about, message Luis, message myself. Like, we'll be coming up with content, obviously, on our own. But we want to make sure that you guys are getting out of this, you know, what it is why you tune in, if you will, right? So any topics you want us to cover, let us know. We'll put it on the schedule and we'll get it out there.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. The more interaction we have, the better it is. You know, so just go ahead and engage with us. Both Mike and I will respond and reply. And we're gonna keep doing this. This is our first one. We're gonna do this on the weekly. We've both made that commitment. We're gonna do this on the weekly, whether Thursday or Fridays. We'll figure it out. We'll fit it into our schedule. But right now, we're gonna tape, edit, post. Maybe we'll just go live one day, you know, and just be able to do this right on the screen with anyone that wants to be able to interact with us at that point. We can do that. So maybe, I don't know, if we hit like 500 followers or something along those lines, and we start doing things like that. But for right now, just go ahead, drop the comment. We'll get back to you guys. I'm going to make sure both of our emails are on here so that anyone can reach out. And other than that, I cannot wait for next week, bro.
Hell yeah, Luis. You are the man. I'm so happy to do this with you.
Let's go. All right, brother. Have a good one.
See you, man.